Welcome to our podcast. I am Primus, and you are listening to Behind the Scenes at Octavius Reviews. We hope that you enjoy our broadcast and think of us kindly. For a glossary of terms and nomenclature, please see the description. Also, check our site for more detailed information on the games and for links to the demos, as a convenience, of course. Thank you for listening.
Welcome back to Behind the Scenes at OctaviusReviews.com. I am Janis, joined as always by Primus, and we are opening up the editorial desk for another look at the mechanics running the games industry this week. Before we dive into the heavy infrastructure updates, I have a massive personal announcement. I have officially decided to change my entire look. I am going to a stylist this Saturday to get a complete, razor-sharp, asymmetrical white bob cut.
Oh, Janice. You will come out and make such a declaration of intent. Let me guess. You spent the entire morning staring at the newly dropped Netflix Studio Trigger promotional materials for Cyberpunk Edgerunners 2.
I loved Edgerunners, and I binged the whole series last night, and I am completely exposed. I am absolutely obsessed with Lucy. The artistic direction in those new character posters for Week Kingsley, Dee, Roman Carax, and Talia Yang is spectacular. They just confirmed the autumn premiere date alongside the soundtrack curation. They are using The Cure's 10:15 Saturday Night as the opening theme song, plus a new track by Rico Nasty called You Can't Run From Me. The entire aesthetic is pure, unadulterated cinematic excellence.
Yeah, I wonder if it will be as good as the first was. Most times the sequels are so hyped up that the actual series is a bit of a letdown. More than that, the romantic aspect and the tragic outcome really was what carried Edgerunners into the legendary status it has today. At its heart, it was a love story.
Preach. The romance was the very definition of tragic.
So true. Though I do agree the hype looks phenomenal, but your sudden style crisis is actually the perfect springboard for our main thesis today. That spectacular Hollywood-level multimedia energy is exactly what modern game corporations are using to manipulate consumer sentiment and mask their software engineering realities. Case in point, I recently booted up my old save file to stress test the Update 2.3 patch on my PC rig. Now, keep in mind this patch is not brand new. It rolled out back in January of 2025, which means consumers have been living with these specific system adjustments for well over a year now.
Right, the legacy patch bragging about the addition of the Yaiba Semimaru motorcycle and the Rayfield Mordred hypercar?
Exactly. But if you look past the shiny vehicle models that have been sitting in the game for 18 months, you find the classic structural red flags of a fragile software architecture. Buried deep within those official bug fixes, CD Projekt Red explicitly notes that they had to manually resolve a mechanical issue where History by Gazelle Twin and Trash Generation played too loudly compared to other songs on the radio.
Wait, are you telling me a multi-billion-dollar enterprise can secure the licensing rights to legendary alternative tracks? Yet their proprietary software pipeline is so unstable that it requires a core system patch just to calibrate its own master volume slider correctly? That is crazy.
That is the absolute reality under the hood. The artistic direction is brilliant, but the underlying engineering remains incredibly fragile. And it gets much worse when you analyze the actual gameplay features introduced in that era, specifically the automated driving system and self-driving Delamain cabs.
Okay. The auto-drive feature. This is where the narrative completely falls into what we call the sanitization trap. Cyberpunk sells itself as an unforgiving, hyper-violent corporate dystopia where survival on the concrete is supposed to be an active, brutal struggle. Yet, the developers spent thousands of engineering hours building an automated tour guide mode complete with a cinematic camera. They explicitly encourage the player to take their hands off the controls, sit back, and treat a dangerous concrete jungle like a passive, sanitized amusement park ride.
And the irony is that by adding these automated, hands-off layers, only exposes how broken the game's core simulation truly remains. When you use the auto-drive feature to arrive at a destination, the autonomous node navigation completely bypasses the manual event listeners in the code. It literally breaks the script triggers for the associated side jobs, completely locking the quest state machines because the game cannot handle its own automation. Though that isn't always the case, it does still happen. Personally, I think the system is just so bloated, and that it needs a massive amount of resources to really play well. That is my theory. I suspect it just grew into a resource hog.
Oh, but it is a beautiful, high-fidelity PC game. Was it ambition, perhaps? Too much so? But say what you will, it was a true cyberpunk legend. Even with its historical runtime, we are still dealing with basic civilian pathfinding routines collapsing into uniform loops, which I would say is a failure of the engine more than the idea. The technology to support such an ambitious project didn't exist in 2012 to 2016 when development truly began, and every title with a massive, complex sim NPC base had those type of issues. That was a challenge for the industry, by and large, during that time. Missing or floating textures, and a multi-level map system that is an absolute nightmare to navigate. Okay, a little harder to understand. So I would say perhaps there was a reason why that couldn't have been resolved by now? I don't know. But given that the last patch was like 18 months ago at least, that pretty much says development ended. So if we are stuck figuring out basic vendor UI layout configurations ourselves, or staring at identically spec'd Tier 2 quick hacks like weapon glitch, completely confused as to why one version costs 500 eddies, while an identical-looking icon costs 12,000 eddies, simply because the game fails to clearly differentiate a standard item from a reusable crafting specification. That just speaks to the software coming into the end of life, and instead of dumping money into those fixes, they are spending it on the sequel, which in the end will bring the fans an overall better experience modern for the time instead of fighting the old game engine. Despite all of that, and I know this will be a controversial opinion, I still love the game.
Well, I have heard that love is blind. Oh, Janis. Nope. Despite your kind eyes, miss. The multimedia success of the anime successfully drove the franchise to 40 million copies sold, completely shielding a flawed, aging engine from commercial reality. But look, if you think this patch life cycle is just a nice little gift for the community, you are missing the macro business model entirely. CD Projekt Red did not just save their reputation with Studio Trigger. They used that cultural momentum to fund a massive, quiet migration completely away from their own broken proprietary software.
I still believe that for its time, it was an epic legend, which is why I have been tracking high-level executive engineering hires in Boston when I heard that they would be setting up shop in new offices, which without a doubt has made the city of Boston a much hipper place to live. Or visit? I have to say, my hopes are high.
Look at you with stars in your eyes. Well, if you are a massive fan of Cyberpunk and want a deeper, structured fix on how this universe is evolving under the hood, consider joining our Patreon community, as we have put the premium goods aside as not to bore those who are looking for a casual episode today. Of which you will discover, we have analysed the leaked development schedules for Project Orion, exploring the technical realities of their shift to Unreal Engine 5, which I think was their most brilliant play, by the way, and more. So if any of that has piqued your interest, head over to our Patreon page right now to unlock the engineering ledger. And as always, Internet, if you're listening, thanks. Until next time.
I couldn't wait for you to come and clear the cupboard, but now you're gonna leave with nothing but a sign. Another evening I'll be sitting reading in between your lines, because I miss you all the time. So